Hey guys, it's Agent Mac. Welcome to our newest webcast, Mission Impossible, 7 Ways Your Grand Opening Can Self-Destruct. Let's go meet up with Agent Craig and talk about the missteps that you can turn into marketing secret weapons.
Hello? Really? Oh no, that's terrible. Hey Mac, come here, we need to talk about this. We just had another grand opening go down in flames. We really need to tell people what to do.
All right, let's do it. Okay, Craig, let's get to work. What happened with this franchise?
Well, unfortunately, in this case, they just didn't plan. They didn't have a strategy. They got so busy with opening the store and training their staff and all the other things that go into actually opening a location, they forgot to plan out the grand opening.
So a little too focused on operations versus trying to set up a strategy that includes the marketing and
Right.
encompasses everything.
Exactly.
We see that a lot.
Yeah, it's really important to set some goals, right? You don't want to just go in blindly and open and not really have any idea of what to expect or what you're hoping to get out of it. And also set expectations. They should be realistic. Get a baseline of some sort. You know, talk to the brand. There's been other openings before you. You can get some type of baseline to understand like how you're doing and what to expect when you go into it.
So for a local franchisee, how do they measure that success?
Well, that's a good question. There's a number of ways that you can measure success, and we're going to talk about some more a little later on in this show. But you could do things like measure number of visits per day, right? Or number of services per week, or number of coupons redeemed. There's a lot of different ways that you can measure. Another really important thing for people to remember is it's not a one-day event. It could be up to 90 days before you open and 90 days after. It's really not a single event, it's a process. And that's really important for people to remember.
So let's talk more about this franchise. You mentioned they didn't have a strategy. What else happened to cause this grand opening to not go so well?
Well, unfortunately, they also forgot to do surveillance and scout out the location. So people do that when they're figuring out where to build, but they kind of forget about the grand opening piece, right? So there's things like you need to know more than just the basic demographics of your audience. When would be a good time for them to come? When are they available? What else is going on in the community? Is there another grand opening going on right next door? You know, so there's things that you should look for on both a positive and a negative side, things you want to avoid or things that could help you. And they sort of forgot to do that. Also, didn't really plan out on what time would be optimal and who to invite.
Sure. So should you invite just anybody to a grand opening?
Well, obviously you want to invite everybody from the community if it fits, but also make sure you invite the really influential people in the community. So the Chamber of Commerce, you could have a street team that sends out, you know, has flyers for people.
I'm sure I've seen that.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're a food service, you could send food to the local radio station. There's a lot of different things you can do.
Pretty genius. Nice. All right, so what are some of the basic things that a franchisee needs to consider when planning a grand opening?
Yeah, there are some basics that people should remember. So things like a budget. Plan out your budget. I mean, people plan on spending a lot to open the actual location or the store or whatever service or business they have, but sometimes they forget about the grand opening. It could be from $10,000 to even $40,000 or $50,000. Really got to budget that out. Also, make sure that your messaging is consistent across all channels, from in-store to radio to banner ads, whatever type of advertising you're doing, make sure messaging is consistent across all channels.
Perfect. Yes. Definitely bring that in. We need it ASAP. Thanks. All right, Craig, here are our marketing secret weapons we can share with everybody today.
Fantastic. Yeah, we've been waiting for this. So this is a very detailed infographic on all of the secret weapons people can use for grand openings. Now people can download this at bluewaterbrand.com/go. But let's just cover a couple of these things to give people an idea of what's on this.
Perfect.
Right? So one thing that's covered is smart mail. So people may not know that you start with a big awareness push and then get down to more finely tuned targeted mailings as you get closer to the event. Also earned media. So I don't know if people realize that press coverage for your event can be better than any advertising you can do. It's really a fantastic tool that people may not know about or may not know how to use. Writing a press release, if you don't have a lot of money, can be extremely valuable for your grand opening.
Definitely. One of the other big items on here is digital marketing. So a lot of franchisees might not know that things like banner ads can actually be targeted at the zip code level. So you can still take a big digital marketing on something that's as big as the internet and localize it.
Right.
You can do the same thing with Pandora ads. If anybody's ever listened to Pandora and you hear the little ads in there, you could advertise your grand opening in that Pandora ad. You can actually target your audience by age, gender, location, and again, still get very targeted and local. You can do the same thing with PPC, local search, people that are actually typing in terms if they're looking for new restaurants, if you're a restaurant franchise in your area, and use digital marketing. Also, broadcast. If you have the budget, you might even have a national ad fund that might be able to help you out with this for your grand opening. Things like radio and television broadcasts are still really great channels.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then there's also in-store promotion, right? So you have your event, well you need like things to let people know, right? So that's signage, banners, flyers. Flyers are a great way to have all your information about your business all ready for people right when they walk in. Also contests and giveaways. This is a great way to kind of create excitement about the event. It also can be used for gathering information about your customers that then later you can use to email them and run ongoing campaigns. There's also a fantastic timeline on this infographic that shows like from the beginning all the way through past grand opening, what you do where. Very valuable tool.
Absolutely. So if you want to know more about the marketing secret weapons and if you want to get a timeline that you could actually use for your grand opening, again, just check out the infographic. It's at bluewaterbrand.com/geo.
All right, so this reminds me, the franchise they called that had some problems? Well, another problem that was they were just too rigid in their plan for grand openings.
Really? Now, I thought it was good to have a detailed plan. We talked about setting up a strategy, but...
It is. So you want a plan, but you don't want it to be rigid and locked in. Every market is different. So sometimes there could be a national plan that just goes out to every franchisee, but that might not always apply to every market. So you have to be able to be flexible. So you can adjust your lists and mailings, you can adjust your time. What if there's like we mentioned earlier, what if someone else is opening on that same day, right? You have to be able to adjust a little bit on the fly. So it's really important to just kind of be able to adjust as you go.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, a grand opening plan that's national, like you mentioned, I mean, something might work really well in the Los Angeles market, but it might not work so well in Minneapolis or Chicago.
That's exactly right. No, that's a perfect example.
All right, perfect. Okay, Craig, so you mentioned that this particular franchisee had been really focused on things like operations and training.
Right.
But another way that a grand opening can self-destruct is a franchisee does the opposite, right? Where they get so caught up in preparing that sometimes the actual day can fall apart. Is that true?
It's very important to be prepared for the actual day of the grand opening, right? This is your customer's first impression of your location. And as everyone knows, you can only get one chance at a first impression, right? So there are many things to know that you have to plan for. So things like, is your staff trained, right? Do they know everything that's going on in your location? There was a time once where I went to a location that was opening and they asked me for my email and I said, that's great, here it is. Why am I giving you your email or my email? And they didn't know. So little things like that, right? All your staff should be trained at all of the different aspects of your location and your business.
I've had something similar like that happen when I've walked into a new, store and maybe the staff wasn't really knowledgeable about the product right away because they were so new.
Exactly. Another thing to remember about staff is on that day you want to make sure you're fully staffed. You don't want people to come in and then have to sit and wait. And wait. So make sure you have enough people, all registers are open, plan for the place to be packed, right? Because ideally that's what it's going to be. Also remember to have refreshments for people. Have some kind of entertainment. If you're going to do giveaways, make sure people know that they're giveaways. You can also use that as a way to educate the customers on your business and your service.
Yeah, so a lot of those little things that go into the success of the day, and just, having extra help with that will ensure success.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Perfect. We've got a franchisee emergency.
Agent Mac and Craig, my grand opening is over and I don't know if I was successful. What do I do next? Please help me.
Stop. It's okay. We can definitely help you.
Yeah, one step at a time though. You didn't track your success. But here's how you can fix it. Measurement is key. So go back to your goals and you'll see how you can measure your success.
So if he set up in his strategy how he was going to measure success, how can he track that now?
Well, there's a bunch of different ways that it can be done. So you can look at traffic, so number of visits per day, number of customers per day, per week. You can also look at coupon redemption. Did you have a coupon that you sent out either by mail, street team, however you did it? How many people redeemed those coupons? You can also look at your microsite. Do you have a microsite, and do you have things that people can do on that microsite? Like, can they sign up for something? Are you giving away something? Is there some type of service that they can sign up for, an appointment? Those are all different ways that you can track and measure your success.
Perfect. And if you talk to your corporate office, they might even have some measurements of success from previous grand openings. Is that right? They can help kind of tell you what
how you're doing or what to look like. Yeah. So back in our strategy, we mentioned that a baseline would be good to kind of judge yourself against. So how did other previous grand openings do? How do you compare?
Thanks, Agent Mac and Craig, for all of your help.
All right, so the whole reason we're here today is to help these franchisees that have had some struggles with their grand opening.
Right.
But let's say that they've set their strategy, they're using the marketing secret weapons, they've done everything right up until this point, and the grand opening is over. What do we do next?
Right, that is the big question. Well, the key is to keep the momentum going, right? You had this huge, great grand opening, in theory, right? That's what we all want. But then you have to keep it going. So you want to, your grand opening should be, at least another 90 days after the day, but then you also want ongoing campaigns.
So once your grand opening is done, that's not the time to stop marketing.
No.
You need to keep going with that.
Absolutely. I mean, you really want to build, like I said, build upon that momentum. Make sure that you turn those customers or the one-time visitors into customers and loyal customers at that.
So how can you follow up with those people that have come in for your grand opening then?
Yeah, it's a great question. So there's a lot of different things you can do, like try to get email addresses when they're coming in. You can do that through a contest or a giveaway of some sort. That's a great way to get a communication tool that then you can re-engage with those customers.
And hold up, you do have to get permission to email them though, right?
Yeah, that's actually a great point. Yes, you want to make sure that you get permission before you start just marketing via email. Absolutely.
Perfect. What other examples do you have as far as continuing campaigns we could do to reach people?
Yeah, there's a lot of different kind of campaigns you can do. You could do second visit, right? Some kind of incentive to bring people in a second time. You could do a loyalty campaign to try to turn, customers into loyal customers. Like, if they come in 10 times, they get something free or a discount, something like that. There's also, you could do newsletters, a quarterly newsletter or a weekly newsletter, as long as you're giving them valuable information and content.
Perfect. So the main point here is just because your grand opening is done doesn't mean your marketing is done. It's going to be a continued effort. And again, let's reiterate that it is okay to ask for help to continue this marketing.
Yes.
So you could get a marketing manager from the corporate office, or you can give us a call here at Blue Water as well.
Absolutely. We're here to help anytime you need us. Uh-oh. We've got another code red. Let's go.
Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter.